Hi guys, I'm Shmi, and today you join me in the south of France where I'm joining Porsche Ultimate to go for a very proper driving experience. I'm going to be driving the limited 911R up the Col de Turini, a pretty epic road and a pretty epic car to be driving it in. So the car is part of their experience program, and today I'm going to get to enjoy the very best. So let's head down to the car park and take a look at the 911R. And this is it. This is the car that I am going to be driving today. So first, let's go for a little bit of a walk around and talk about the 911R. So it probably shouldn't really need much of an introduction. Porsche introduced it as the sort of last of the 991 first generation models. It has the 4-litre flat 6 naturally aspirated engine from the GT3 RS with 500 horsepower. There are only 991 of them in total to represent obviously the 991 model designation of the 911. And this one is one from the factory, finished in the white with the green stripes, the distinctive green striping. But the big thing is the fact that it has 3 pedals and a manual gearbox. That is what made the 991 911R so very special. So as we take a little bit of a walk around, you've got Sport Cup 2 tyres, centre locks. This car has no radio, no air conditioning. It has the lightweight single mass flywheel. It is optimised for driving hard and the emotive driving experience, which is what today is all about. It weighs about 1250 kilos dry, 0 to 62 miles an hour in 3.8 seconds, and a top speed of 201 miles per hour. But as we go around it, you can see a lot of the styling comes from the GT3 and the GT3 RS. It also introduces more weight saving through additional carbon fiber parts, through obviously stripping out even more sound deadening than the GT3 RS. So 4.5 kilos less sound deadening than even the GT3 RS has in it. But the body and the aerodynamics is very much 911 GT3. So slightly wider, more aggressive, the twin exhaust pipe exit at the centre of the rear, coming round towards the front, the larger sort of intakes in the lower corners and lower sides that are familiar from those GT3s and GT3 RSs, but it doesn't have the wing louvers that the GT3 RS carried up here, and to sort of counter that with the additional power, it means it needs more downforce underneath the car, and also without the wing, you need more downforce via a new diffuser too. But obviously that all works in conjunction with technologies like the rear wheel steering that makes it presumably corner like it's on rails. Looking forward to driving this and seeing what it's about. Now today's drive is part of the Porsche Ultimate experience, hence why you can see we have a 911 GTS and a Turbo S Cabriolet here as part of the cars they offer that you can rent or drive or enjoy these different experiences, like coming to take the 911R here, driving a 918 Spider around Circuit Paul Ricard, or joining Porsche at Le Mans, or various different things that they do too. But this is just one of them, probably the number one for me, to drive the 911R on a road as epic as the Col de Turini, where we're going to be heading any moment now. So naturally, I'm quite excited about this, but let's jump in the car and have a look at the inside. The key for the car is of course Porsche's traditional car-shaped key, so let's give that an unlock, pop that back in my pocket. And one more thing while we're on the outside, carbon ceramic brakes as standard on the 911R. Of course it's all about driver focus and lightweightness, so that is absolutely required. Opening the door though, the first thing that greets you on the inside are the 918 style sports bucket seats that have become popular throughout sort of Porsche's racing and road GT cars. But the difference on the 911R is the houndstooth style finish to them, combined with the brown leather that give it that old school look and feel, working in tandem with the stripes on the car that you can have in green or red, on the paintwork in white or silver, paying tribute to the earlier 911R. There were 50 paint to sample cars, so 50 cars that weren't in white or silver, which are even more special. But jumping in here, we know it, we're familiar with it, just with the difference of that gearbox. It's 20 kilos lighter than the GT3 RS's PDK double clutch system, but introduces the third pedal and even more driving experience, and that's what this is about. So I'll step in over the carbon sill there, take a seat in the sport bucket, where we're greeted by those familiar 5 dials that have been on the 911s throughout every generation. Normally you'd have the navigation system here, but that is of course completely hollowed out. You do have the air vents, but there is no sort of compressor to make it work. But let's press the pedals and start this up. And that is raw. The sound is just so totally and utterly raw. The way you hear that rumble and almost rattle from it is the lightweight flywheel, but it feels ready to go up a proper road and be driven hard, even though there may be no air conditioning. And I am already boiling in here, and I've only been in here for a few moments. But this is it. This is a car that is designed and built throughout for a proper driving experience, and that is what Porsche Ultimate are offering me today, with the opportunity to take this now up the Col de Turini. And when we get back, I'll show you more about it, but first up is going to be this drive, and this should be incredible. I'm looking forward to it. Away we go then. So, the manual 911R, the sort of last of a dying breed, although Porsche have brought back a different variation of the gearbox into the new GT3, the 991.2 GT3, the sort of facelift of the car. But this is the kind of special developed gearbox for this car. It's not the sort of standard one. It's not the 7-speed manual that you have in the regular 911s. It's a 6-speed created for the R. And the clutch feels good already. The noise is so raw and visceral. And this is just completely standard. I haven't gone into sport or opened the exhaust flap. But this is going to be quite fun. This is the 911R. I'm driving an R. I've been looking forward to this one. It's a car I've wanted to drive, and I've got the windows down right now, obviously, to get some cooling in the car because it's been parked out in the sunshine. It's showing us 28 degrees on the car's dash. Whew. Now the first part of today's drive is the Col de Braus, which is an awesome road, and I'm going to drive up it, experience it, and then hopefully at the top of it, show you what it looks like. Flat 6 sounds so good, and the gearbox has this lovely short throw. That's the first thing you notice. The clutch is quite light, but has a very distinct bite point. It's similar in feel to how my GT4 was, how it's just sort of connected and feels easy to drive. And the power and the torque, there is a lot of it. It picks up very nicely in third gear. And this is just gentle so far. Now, like I said before, I'm sorry for the wind noise, but I need the cooling right now because it is hot today. One of my favorite things about this is manually blipping the shifts. You can put it into sport and it'll do it automatically, like that. But doing it manually, I mean, let's just do an auto one. Yeah, it's quick. Rev matches perfectly, and you can rev it up to about 8,500 RPM, so it's not quite the 9,000 of the GT3 or the 8,800 of the RS, but it's not exactly bad. It just feels exciting, it feels special, and the amount of sound you hear through the car, you can tell that all that sound deadening's been pulled out. Just, I mean, it's raw experience, it's what it's supposed to be, and you can tell immediately that's what it is as we reach some open roads here. Quick. I think that's one of the things that's perhaps taking me by a little bit of surprise. It's 500 horsepower on paper. By the modern scheme of things, it's not that much, but when you take out all the weight and you make it a car that's just over 1,200 kilos, you can see kind of how that's going to stack up and how that's going to mean you fly up the roads. And those auto rev match blips are really, really good. Climbing up here. For this experience, Porsche Ultimate will bring the car to you, whether it's at the airport, your house, in Monaco, in Cannes, wherever it is, or you can do it the way I've just done and turn up to the bottom of an amazing road, jump in a 911R and just drive it up. So I've literally done a handful of kilometers in this car so far, and I'm in heaven. This is what driving is about. This is why we do it, for cars like this, on roads like this. Thank you, Porsche, for making this car and for letting me drive it. This is heaven, this is dreamland. Away we go! That noise! And what's amazing me the most is how early you get the power band, especially compared to my ex Cayman GT4, which obviously had the flat 6, but the 3.8 litre. It revs up fast, naturally aspirated glory, and this is a heavenly road to be driving this car on. from switchback to switchback, and it's so tight. The next lane, or the next switchback view just there beside me. Oh my goodness. Off the rocks, that sound. Suspension is in firm, and you can definitely feel that. It's a rough ride like this, but that gives you better turning. And the way it goes around corners, that rear wheel steer is a different setup in here to the regular 911 as well. But you can feel it does its job so well. It just means it goes around those kind of medium corners incredibly well. And the turning circle is super tight as well around the switchbacks. And this is just heavenly. Oh my gosh, around we go. Give it a spurt. Sound off the rocks. This is amazing. The ride over that was quite compliant though. That was actually really quite rough there. We've pulled over to take a look at this view, and what a view this is. You can see the road coming in at the bottom of the valley, then all of the hairpins as it meanders up the Col de Braus here, up towards where we are now with the 911R. And could anything be more epic than this road and this car? This combination is just heaven. This is perfection on tarmac, driving this car. Just look at that, just look at that road. It's like some spaghetti was laid out in the most complicated shape possible. Just how tight the sort of turns are backwards and forwards. And this is just the start as we make our way up towards the Col de Turini now. The fans just coming on to cool the car because it is a hot day, but my word, this is amazing. I'm breathtaking. This is incredible. The journey continues with more roads meandering backwards and forwards, but going downhill is where you can start to feel how good the turn-in on this car really is. It just grips and sticks, and the Sport Cup 2 tyres are brilliant for that, but it must have quite a good amount of aero that's helping, the rear wheel steer helping, and it's just a thrilling car. I mean, this car in this environment is literally the best thing I think you can probably do with 4 wheels and a steering wheel. And then the blipped downshift round the hairpins. It's just making me giddy with excitement. Oh, a tunnel. First gear. That sound through there, the way it just echoes around you. I mean, it's good just off the rocks anyway, but the power you have and the torque so early in the rev range, it's amazing the way it picks up. One of the things that's so very good about this car is the ride control. So I've put it in the softer suspension setting now, but even in the firmer setting, it goes over rough roads like I'm driving on now with a lot of sort of poise and comfort really. Yet on the other end of the spectrum, when you turn it in hard on a tight corner, it has so much agility and ability and control and grip, and the front end turn in is just magical. And then you've got the steering, so it's the electric steering setup, but it works so well, it feels sort of near on mechanical, and it just has such a nice sort of amount of turn to it. Then the brakes, Porsche's carbon ceramic brakes, the PCCBs, they're all just so brilliantly set up. The balance in here with everything, the whole car is just perfection. The gearbox, the steering, the suspension, the interaction, the chassis, the way it all works, it is wonderful. Like the Cayman GT4, the gearbox here, the manual gearbox is set up so that you don't actually need to shift that often. Second and third pretty much has you sorted on this kind of road. You can drop it down to first if you want for the tight hairpins, but you've got so much torque throughout the rev range and from such an early sort of place, the only thing you want to do is just shift gear to get those burbles on the overrun. And just because it's a nice interaction, the feeling of doing it is half the excitement. And like I said earlier, this car was designed for emotive driving pleasure. That's what it was built for, and that's basically what it does to such an unbelievably epic degree. The noise of the engine, the way it screams away, the brakes are so good, the feel of everything. Like I just said, the feel, it's so perfectly balanced. Everything works together in tandem, and then you rev it up to the red line, and you have so much power. When you put the power back on after shifting gear, you're kind of blown away by how quickly it gets back on it and it goes. That is probably the biggest surprise to me. I thought it was going to be an epic drive, and it's ticked every box that it needs to tick from that point of view. The 911R is the most wonderful of cars you could imagine as an out-and-out driving experience. I definitely have mine with air conditioning. But here as we go up the Col de Turini, as we ascend this mountain road, these twists, these turns, it it is pure heaven. Even though the road surface is rough, the car rides it so well balanced and so beautifully. This is, guys, seriously, the one word that sums this up is wow. This is just wow. I'm arriving up towards the top, just the last few bits of backwards and forwards. But let's just enjoy a little bit of pure sound of this car. Just glorious. I need some air, but here we are at the peak of the Col de Turini. We've made it in the most spectacular of fashion in the 911R, and we'll park up here. But my word, what a drive, what a driving experience. I'm just speechless about it all, and I know we overused that a lot. But this is it. This is 911R on a road like that, and just sitting here with the clutch lifted. The way you hear that noise, press the clutch in, where you can hear the sort of rawness of the lightweight flywheel. Kind of funny, really. 997 GT3 RSs used to do that, and obviously that's about making you have even more contact with the clutch and it being even lighter. But let's just, close the window, turn it off for a second, and take a moment to take this in and have a little look around. The first thing I need to open the door, which you do with the sort of grab handles, the grab straps, just like in a lot of Porsche GT cars, but I need some cool air in here. But let's just take a little look around. I'll turn the ignition back on. You can see the displays, we're familiar with those, and if you start it up, obviously the key here on the left, the old Le Mans start comes into life, and you get those nice burbles from it. You've got those 5 displays I mentioned earlier, traditional 911, your temperatures, speedometer, rev counter, the digital display, and then another temperature and your fuel gauge at the right hand side. That display on the right can show you various bits of information, your trip info, your tyres, gear change assist, G-forces on you as you're driving, torque where you are in the performance curve, as you can see there, and back to your temperatures of the car. I've got to keep the clutch in because we're in first gear at the moment. Your good old 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, reverse being full left and forwards. You do have the blowers, but it doesn't do much without any cold air. And then you have a little bit of direction, but seriously, you're never going to press those. You do have your front and rear heat though, if you should need that. I'm going to turn it off for a second and pop it back into first, just to give my leg a break. But here you've got the 911R plaque with the limited edition number. This car is 000, it's a factory car, and this is our good old over-engineered cup holders, but the system everybody loves so very much when you fold that away. Oh, I've not done a very good job of closing it there, but with the nice carbon fibre trim as well. They've provided me with some water, should I require. And then in the back, it's all stripped out, no rear seats like a regular 911, just a little bit of sort of finishing material and lightweightness, because that is what it is about. Now, let me step out and just sort of, I guess, point the camera back in slightly. There's not that much to show you really in here because it is basically all stripped out. Further down that central console, I should have said also, you've got your sport, your ride control, traction, ESC, and on the other side you've got the button for the wing and the exhaust as well. So I had it basically exhaust valve on the whole time, so it was nice and noisy. And sport for the auto blipping, turn sport off for the manual option to rev match yourself. You've got a bit of brown leather here as well to match with the seats, against mostly the black, but that kind of traditional smart interior finish and look to the car. Then there's not a huge amount to see in the front and in the rear, but let's pop them open and go and have a little look. So back here, under the sort of engine cover, if we just lift that up, that's your 4-litre engine. Rear engine, of course, mounted in the sort of depths back there, but basically you can't get to much yourself other than changing the oil, and that's pretty much it. And then this panel is the spoiler that lifts and pivots up to give you a little bit of downforce. But the panel on top of here for cooling, for the airflow through the car, you can see the way that works, and then a little bit comes out through there. You've got air that can release from the rear arches over to the side, and then the diffuser doing its thing underneath, mostly sort of integrated under the car. If I stick the camera sort of fully under, you can see those sort of diffuser vanes slightly, and the way that obviously gives it a bit of downforce down onto the road. lightweight exhaust system, and the striping, which also comes with these stripes along the door that I didn't mention earlier, all sort of matching. You can have the different configurations set up depending how you want it. Then round the front, if you want a bit of luggage space, you've got that in here. The front boot, decent amount of capacity actually for putting things in there, if you so want. And you can see on the underside of the bonnet, carbon fibre, you can see the raw carbon of that, which is a neat little finish too. So I'll put that back down. Super light bonnet, and then the sticker badge on there too for proper sort of lightness. Who would want a few grams for a sticker or for an actual sort of enamel badge on the front, right? Around the front also, interesting thing, Porsche do this really clever thing with front splitters, and they put on these sort of fairly cheap black plastic front splitters. So if you hit the ground, the bit that you replace is that for like 100, 200 pounds rather than a really expensive carbon fibre bumper. So kudos to them for that, for being the manufacturer that's planned ahead the best on that front. But this, as a day, as a drive, as an experience, as an outing with Porsche Ultimate, has been something astronomical. I mean, that car is full sort of bucket list stuff. They came out, I think it was about £135,000, maybe 150 by the time you spec'd it up in the UK when they were new. Very quickly went on market at sort of £500,000, £500,000. They're still hovering well over significant premiums because there were only 991 of them. And I guess that means probably the UK market was probably only about 50 cars at most anyway. So they are super, super rare, and the only way you could get one basically was being invited by Porsche to buy the car. So it was a pretty special, significant piece, reintroducing the manual at a time when the market was crying out for it, but most people were ordering the PDK box. It's basically, it's a lot more than, but the GT3 RS is for the track, this is for the road, this is for that sort of one outing driving experience, which is exactly what I've had today, thanks to Porsche Ultimate. So you can take the car, you can go off, take it out for a good sort of 6-7 hour drive around this region of the south of France with beautiful roads, amazing scenery, lovely weather, and driving in a car like that. Or you can rent a number of other cars from their fleet and do sort of different trips or adventures in this area or in other areas, or even join them at Le Mans or one of the racing experiences too, driving in the 918, the GT3 Cup or the GT3 RS. So there's a lot on offer, and I'll put a link to more information about that below. But for me today, coming along, driving this car, what more could I ask for? The 911R is near on perfection. I mean, it would be very, very hard for me to pick a fault with this car. It won Driver's Car of the Year pretty much from every magazine or every website that did one last year for that involving driving experience, for that excitement when you're behind the wheel. And I mean, having just taken a minute to sort of calm down, and sort of, calm down's the wrong word, but relax from the involvement, because it makes you work. It makes you work hard, and your adrenaline is pumping while you're driving it. But I'm not going to forget today in a hurry. So a big thanks to Porsche Ultimate, to Porsche for making this car, and to you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video with the Porsche 911R, a very, very special car, and one that will go down in the history books for sure. Thanks again though for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys again very soon. Cheers.